Good evening. It's Manwara Ali here, all about community leadership. I'm here on my usual Sunday conversations with guests. I've been having lots of different guests coming in each week. And this week I've got Hamza Abdulwahi. Just rewinding back to Maria last week, Maria talked about having a dream of doing international development work. All those things she does in the community. So my platform, or the platform, is a way for us to throw the spotlight on community people, ordinary people that are leading organizations, charities, businesses, are actually doing it all the time. So I am really, really honored to have Hamza on board today. And Hamza, I will be looking, can really be utilized to make change within the community. I'm excited to have Hamza on board. Actually, just to give you a little bit of background of Hamza. So Hamza is of Somalian background. He's been a youth worker since he was a child, lives in London Borough of Waltham Forest. And he has been working with young people for as long as he can remember. So I met him through youth work together. But apart from what I find fascinating is what Hamza does and the things that actually drive him to want to make change in his community and to make that leaves an impact in the world. To be looking at community leadership, how people could be more involved in making that change. I'm going to introduce Hamza in, but before I do, anybody who's listening, really appreciate where you're listening from. If you have any questions, do put it on the chat, and we will try the conversation, and I hope that you'll be able to join us today. This conversation is actually live on you as well as LinkedIn. I'm going to bring Hamza in. Hamza.
Hello,
Hi.
Manwara. Hi.
Evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm really good, Hamza. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm well too. I'm well. Very happy to be here today, and
Great.
Yeah, it's been a long time waiting. So yeah,
that's brilliant. I'm excited to see what I'm gonna hear and I'm gonna learn, and other people listening will be today sort of discovering, and you will be enlightening us with some of your knowledge and some of the things you've learned. So introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, not just work-wise, but you as an individual. Introduce yourself.
okay. Yeah, so I'm Hamza Abdulwahi. I am 28. I am from Waltham Forest. Specifically, grew up around Leighton. I came to the United Kingdom in 2006. So I wasn't born in the UK. I came as a refugee, and I've been working as a youth worker now, I would say close to 10 years. So I've always been someone that goes to youth clubs and a regular youth club goer, and then eventually transitioned into youth work. I used to want to become a astrophysicist, but now I'm working as a youth worker, as you all know. And I am also the founder and director of a community interest company that I set up a year ago, that focuses on young people's employment and social corporate responsibility. So that's me in a small nutshell. Yeah.
Thanks, Hamza. It's a bit about this young people's enterprise, because I had very little knowledge of you, in terms of your work outside of work, as in the things you do. What you set up your own organization or community interest company, you said, yes?
Yes. So actually, I have a mentor. I'm not pointing any fingers, but I once I started working at the community hub 3 years ago. I came from a very different youth club environment, and I was really nurtured in that organization, and it got me to see things on a more different perspective, on a more leadership perspective, and I felt that um, being a young black boy from East London, you always feel like you have to work so hard just to get certain opportunities to come to you. So I made the decision, with advice and guidance, to go for a try award with the Unlimited. Unlimited were offering funding for local communities within deprived areas for local young black men or women to try an idea that they had. And I had the idea to create a community interest security company that was not for profit. And why I came up with this idea is, in the beginning, I was working as an employability officer, and I've worked with hundreds of young people in this borough. And I always help them with employability, sending them to training. And one thing I noticed that kept coming up over and over again is that I kept sending young people outside the borough, not inside the borough, to get training. And a lot of this training that young people are signing up for have too many strings attached. Um, so I applied for the fund. It was a Dragon's Den style meeting. I pitched my idea, and they loved it, and they funded me. And so I started setting up the business, which basically focuses on gaining corporate contracts, employing local young people, and reinvesting profits into local community activities that are linked to grassroots charities that are able to access underrepresented and marginalized communities or groups. So that's how I set up the business. I trained one young man. That was part of my business plan, was to train a local young person to become a fully fledged security trainer. And I've already got one young man that I trained who is actually younger than me. He's 25, but he's been in the industry for about 7 to 8 years, very consistently. So I had to pick very wisely. And now we are registered. We have our website, and over the pandemic, I work with quite a lot of young people who wanted to get into employment, and around 20 of them I was able to get them trained and to get their badges to become SIA trained, and they're all local young people from Waltham Forest who are looking for work. So now we're just in the process of looking for local contracts or public sector or private sector contracts to be able to, of course, create jobs in the borough, and secondly, to be able to make enough profit to support great initiatives within the borough as well.
Fantastic. That's a lot to have achieved.
Yeah.
Did you say 1 year?
Yes, it's taken me a year and a half. Now that I think about it, I because I'm usually quite hard on myself sometimes. I have done quite a lot. Even during lockdown, I was still pushing and still making sure I got my policies done. And I knew absolutely nothing about starting a business. I've never done a business plan. I don't know how business insurance works. Policies and procedures and quality assessments and internal quality assurance. It's been a very scary journey, but I just kept pushing myself and kept trying to motivate myself. I did lack a bit of discipline. I think I could have got here a lot quicker, but it's just that drive, the fact that I wanted to become a funder one day, to be able to go around within the community. And I know, because I grew up in this area, I know where most of the good projects are, and I want to be the person to turn up to these projects and say, here's the rent for the pitch, here's staff money, so these great projects can continue going and helping more young people. So I wanted to have that build up myself, build up my own capacity, so I can be able to help other people build their capacity and be able to become a great leader within the community. And of course, working in charities, I've now worked for 3 charities that work with young people. And I've noticed that within charities, it's very hard sometimes to acquire funding. And a lot of funding doesn't necessarily come from the corporate sector. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show all the local corporate companies that are locally in Waltham Forest that can invest in these great projects, how it's done. So that's why I took it upon myself to set this up.
It's a advocacy and fundraising. So it's a really interesting and I think a hugely untapped source of funding. The corporate world, we're all talking about what are the biggest problems in society now, and even beyond the pandemic, employability is such a big thing, and I think it's going to get even more hard. Harder discipline.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Just mentors or mentoring, but like what? Hear me?
Can you
hear
struggling
me?
to hear you a little bit. I can hear you now.
What helped you to keep going?
What helped me to keep going is, being a Somali boy in this area, and sometimes that word is used loosely for, what's happening in this area. I wanted to empower myself. And if no one's going to stand up and do something about it, I have to be that person, because I recognized the gap in the market. Because I had the ability to recognize that gap, it is now my responsibility to fill that gap. That's what kept me going, because I felt like it can't just be another one of my ideas that I just say, oh, it's okay, we'll do it another time, or we'll not focus on it. I just felt like it was my responsibility to be to have enough leadership skills and motivation to be able to pursue this idea, because it's going to have great impact and help so many other people within the community. And of course, the Somali community is not the best represented community in this borough, and I wanted to be, their champion in a way, to show them that this is something that I'm doing for us and the wider community as well. So that's what helped me going. And of course, having one-to-one meetings with my mentor, that helped me, re-energize myself, rethink think of things differently. That really helped me keep going, because I already knew what I wanted. I already knew how to get there. It was just the getting there that was difficult, and also not understanding that some things actually do take time. I'm actually quite shocked. It's already been a year since actually setting up in August during the pandemic. Time goes so quickly. So yeah, that's what helped me. The fact that it had to be done and no one else was going to do it. And of course, a lot of young people in my area, for example, when I was younger, I used to play football at Leighton Cricket Ground indoors. Some of the Somali community used to use that pitch as well. And I found out later that pitch now got sold to cricket, and it's no longer been able to be booked for football. And we were all there, maybe 100 of us that used to use that pitch, and now it's no longer accessible to us, and that's because we don't have a voice. So I have to be that voice for my community. I have to be the one that stands up. So that's what helped me keep going.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that, because so much. If you would, then wouldn't happen, or what would think, because sometimes people say that, you know, do it, it's never going to happen. And you're saying, but many people that actually have ideas, and I think one of your biggest challenges would have been also balance work, because you also work, your job is quite hands-on too. What do you think the work and the two? I guess anyone that you're able to do behind the scenes and empower other people as well to start up something which is a necessity in the community, but also hold down a job.
I guess for me, I've learned, I work 2 jobs. I recently just had, I have a baby, I'm looking after my parents. We're very, Somali people are very family orientated. And how I juggled all of this, of course, I was dreaming. I thought, it's just gonna all line up perfectly and I'm gonna be able to do what I need to do, but that's not how it worked. I had to work extra outside of my work hours. I work around maybe 45, 50 hours a week. I had to put extra work in order to achieve for the business. And my mentor used to always tell me, think about, you need to sacrifice something. And it's something that I've started to understand now, where even if it's one day a week, just to take it out, not necessarily take on more hours, and not necessarily focus on the income for now. Taking that time out to focus for your future projects, which can gain you far greater income. Because being, in the beginning for me, of course, I wanted to be self-employed, be able to provide for my family, and and do the things that I wanted to do, to have the free time that I wanted to have. That's every entrepreneur's dream. And also make the changes in the community that I needed to make. So it's I had to make some sacrifices in order for me to get to where I am today. That's how I was able to sort of balance it. But also one thing I've learned recently is this road to success. It's a lonely road. You may have people there that will push you, people there that will remind you. You will have people there that will pretend to help you, but ultimately you have to get up and you have to do the work, because again, it's just lip service. You have to actually get up and do the work and produce the results, because at the end of the day, I might not be the best person to, I may not be able to translate my vision enough, because only I can see that dream, employing 200 young men and women in Waltham Forest, gaining a big security contract from the council, funding maybe 5 or 6 programs within the borough every year, and being recognized for the good work that we do. And ultimately, it is a lonely path that I have to take to get to that success, but I have to remember all the people that have made me get there. So that's how I do it, just by recognizing these things. But also me, myself, Hamza, I'm a good problem. What's the word I made for myself? I'm a good problem finder. I like to look for problems ahead and then procrastinate and then overthink about, I don't know how to do the policies. I've never done policies in my life. I've never had an insurance quote for business insurance or employer's insurance, or what's professional indemnity. These type of things, I see them as obstacles, but actually they're not. They're just, it's part of the process. It's the next step up. And now that I look behind me and I see how many steps I've kind of climbed, I'm actually quite proud of myself. And actually, Monwara, we've launched our website,
Oh wow!
which we'll put in the description. Hopefully, someone can put it in the description, and you can see our website, which was actually made by local young volunteers that were helping me, who believed in my cause. And without them, I would have struggled. So, and I've also learned another important thing. I learned is I don't have to do it all by myself, and the website is an example of that. I don't have to do it by myself, because that's how I am. I'm the oldest son in my family of I have three younger siblings. I have my mom, my dad. I've always been my mom's right hand man. My mom always sent me to Tesco, go do this, go do that. I've always been the guy to be relied on till today. In fact, before this meeting, I was with her just doing some stuff because she relies. I'm reliable, and I've always felt, even for my younger siblings, I always felt like I need to look after these guys. These guys can't look after themselves. I need to look after them. But if that's not the case, you know, you can empower them. You can empower others. Like say my siblings, I'll empower them to have to be able to assist themselves and get further in life. And just so like with the business, I saw a lot of people around me that have a lot of talent and that what was untapped. And I asked them for help and they gave me the best results. So it's really helped to feel that I'm not alone. And even tendering, applying for tenders. I found out many tendering companies, and some of them have given me good news, some of them have given me bad news, but some of them actually cared enough to listen up to my story and actually gave me more help than I even thought I could get over a simple conversation. So it's not, I've learned not to work on my own and to get help, and I've also learned ask to ask because you never know what you're gonna get. So yeah, so
Oh,
that's
as
something I
one of
just thought
my,
I'd add that.
that's a fantastic way of putting it. As one of my colleagues says, you never know until you ask. You don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. It's such a simple thing, you don't ask, you don't get, and a lot, and another thing that I've always has been drilled into me is people want to be your superhero. You
Yay.
know, people people want to help you. There are people out there in the world that genuinely will hear your story and they might be in a position of leadership, a position of influence, and they will literally be a gate opener. Like one of my other colleagues call them gate openers. So
Mm.
someone just needs to open that gate for you to get into the industry or into whatever it is that you want to get into. You just have to ask for that help and you just never know. So yeah.
I love that term you used, gate opener. I hear that on LinkedIn a lot. People, my connections share how it only takes one contact or one person that could really open the gate for you and transform things
Mm,
completely. Maruf's just put a comment. It's admirable to take that responsibility and significantly contribute into your local community. Your work is much appreciated. Lovely. Thanks,
yeah.
Maruf.
Maruf has always been a big supporter and yeah, big up Maruf.
Yes, but Hamza, your vision and your dream as you described it sounds huge, but I think it sounds phenomenal. If that happens, that would be such a huge change in our community and such a big support, a contribution to any young person that's really struggling to find work. I know that with your employment, you also are employability officer, so you're always connecting young people. But what are some of the very biggest challenges that some of the I hate using the word BAME, but Black and ethnic minority young people,
Mm.
specifically Somali young people, have? I think it would be really interesting to hear it from the horse's mouth, because I think many of us feel like we're trained. I'm not from Somali background. I haven't lived your journey.
Mm.
So I can't actually say what the real problems are. So you tell us, like in your
I
words.
feel for me, I was, I'm only 28. I was only, I was young, not long. I'm still young, actually. I was not very, very young, not long ago. And I have been on universal credit when I was about 18, 19. I have seen how they, you know, how the job center sort of treats you and the type of opportunities that you're given. And I feel like, over the pandemic, in my work role, I dealt with over 50 young people, 52 young people in a year. And the consistent thing that I kept seeing is I just want to work, Hamza. I just want to get into work. Just get me into work so I can get away from all the trouble. And of course, and they're ready to work. But the issue is, you send them to these programs that have so many strings attached, where a young person would have to go, say for example, to get SIA badge. In order for him to get the SIA badge, he has to do an English test, a maths test, which I do still believe are very important and they're very crucial. But these two things can hold someone back in order to be able to get that. He'll be able to pass the SIA badge, but he won't be able to pass the maths and English test. He will keep failing and keep coming back and keep coming back for over 3-4 months, a process which could have taken a week, and the young person or the young man or woman would have been into work. So I feel like the obstacles are, I feel like a lot of the funding that is out there, there's too much strings attached for people who sign up to use the service. They want to get as much out of you as possible, and I don't want to be that person. If someone comes to my organization and wants to work, we'll get them through the proper training and get them into a position of work. And then after that, get them to do other things that they want to do. And that's the thing for me. That was one of the issues. And another issue is, the lack of engagement for the Somali community. Not many people do outreach into the Somali community. Not many people go, just down Leighton High Road to see what we're up to, speak to the uncles and aunties and see what are the obstacles there. There is already a divide between the older generation and the newer generation that are born here, and trauma that's been carried over from the two generations, and it's just that lack of support for them, in a sense, a lack of not having a voice. There's a plethora of issues, and the ones that I specifically want to deal with is creating those opportunities for them. Even though I'm creating my own business, I would like for opportunities like the one I got. I would have never known about the opportunity if I wasn't told about it with Unlimited. That type of information needs to be widespread and going to these hard to reach communities, because there's a lot of young Somali boys that are on the street that could become businessmen in the future. They could have great ideas that can impact the community well. This information is not reaching them. I was just the lucky one that happened to meet the right person because I'm an outgoing person. My environment allowed me to get there. There are other people who they will never be able to see those type of opportunities, and I believe that we should try and get those opportunities to them. And the only way we can do that is by connecting with someone like me who is from that community, not bringing a foreign person, who is not necessarily in that community, understands the issues, So I believe even, getting people employed from that community to bring resources to them, because there's a lot of issues there that, that need fixing and sorting out. So, yeah.
So you've just hit the nail on the head in terms of leadership. You have to be that role model, because enough Somali young men, boys out there need to see someone taking the first step. That is exactly how change happens. But I'm sure when you started this journey, it didn't feel real. Tell me how you felt when you were with Unlimited and you were told that you were going to get funding. Did it still feel like it's going to happen, or is it still a dream? How did you feel at that?
Actually, I think the meeting was in Black Horse, the new builds over there. And I remember I actually got there late because I didn't know how to get into the building. I was just outside faffing about. But then when I went into the interview, I like to think I'm a confident person. I'll tell you something full-heartedly, how I see it. And I got good responses from the people when I was, doing the pitch. And I think Unlimited, they get local volunteers to come and stand in the panel to be able to make the decision of whether I get the funding or not. And it was a diverse panel, and they liked what I was doing. They were all just smiling ear to ear, and I felt really confident. And I had a really good bid manager. She really helped me, and she gave me good tips and pointers, and even in terms of budgeting. So when I found out, I was just shocked. I was like, no way, I couldn't. I put in a lot of work, and I couldn't believe it actually happened. But now the work has to happen. So it was shock and fear at the same time for me, because it's like, okay, now I really need to get this done because these people clearly believe in me. So that's those are the emotions that I was going through at the time. And I was really happy because I was like, this is the breakthrough that I needed. I just needed someone to believe in me, and they didn't give me much money, it's not a lot. It's just the fact that someone believed me and was able to give me that support, and someone I can phone at any time and tell them this is what I'm thinking. What do you think about this idea and that idea? So yeah, that's how I felt at the time.
Are you pointing your finger at the word trust?
Yeah, would you say being able to trust me and my ideas? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, definitely. The fact that they trusted me because I'm trying to set up a security company, which is also a training company, which wants to fund communities, activities. This is big stuff for someone like me. I always, the boy on the street, grew up in Capel Street. You're like, wow, man, that's like you have to have a degree or something, or you have to have some crazy training, and actually you don't. Most of these people who have created these big organizations or the council, whatever, they all had to start from somewhere. And as I'm going through this journey, I'm learning more and more and becoming an expert of my own. So, yeah, I like the fact that I was trusted with something that I think was huge, but actually it's not that big. It's doable. It's possible. So, yeah.
It's and you. This is why you're halfway there, because you know it's possible.
Mm,
You know it's not actually that far, is it, out of your reach, although it felt like that at the beginning. But like
mm,
you said, I found that really interesting. You said, rewinding back to maybe 18 months ago or even a year ago, and how far you've come. You might think, oh, you haven't come that far, but actually when you really reflect, you come a long way.
yeah, I don't reflect much, but sessions like this help to see how far I've come. Um,
that's that's
Yeah, it's true.
brilliant.
I have come a long way, and it's still a long way to go. But I am I'm at a point now where I can start seeing some change. Some, I planted the seed. It's grown a little bit. Maybe the flower's about to bloom now a little bit, just a little bit. It's not autumn yet. So let's see. Let's see what the future holds.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's great to be enthusiastic and you know positive about what the future holds, but also how far you've come. So, Hamza, what are you thinking next? What are your plans next?
So now I'm at the stage of, setting up my training company. I probably need to look at some stuff around that side, and I'm thinking international, Nora. I'm not. I just don't want to help, the local community here. I want to be able to empower other people in other countries from countries that are less fortunate, like Somalia, Kenya, countries that are suffering, and be able to empower people there. Because I'm in contact with my family back home, and a responsibility that a lot of people might not know is a lot of us that come from those countries, we have responsibility back home. Sometimes you have to send a little bit of money, sometimes you have to send some gifts, for medicine. But I believe in empowering them, just like how I'm going to empower people here in London. I want to go and empower people in Mogadishu and Nairobi, and get them to start their own businesses as well, so they can sustain themselves. Again, it's always that topic about sustainability, Manwara. If you're able to sustain yourself, and you'll be able to look after other people. A core concept within the security training and SIA training is my security first, then the security of the others. If I can securely secure myself in an event or in a situation or in an emergency, then I can help other people. But I cannot put myself in danger by going to help someone else. So now that I'm establishing myself, giving myself that, the muscles to go and do good things, that's what I want to do. I want to leave a good legacy behind, Monara. That's all. That's what it's about for me. I want Hamza to be remembered for the good things I've done for the people. So yeah.
Oh,
So
Hamza,
that's what's
Hamza,
next.
you're very young.
I know I'm young, but I feel like I'm
Still.
50 sometimes.
You are
Yeah.
doing lots. You are already doing lots in the community, and your legacy is every individual who remembers the support that you've given them. It's more than just what you leave behind. But yeah, no, I hear you, and I totally get you. I really do. And I love the fact that you said, me first, because I think during the pandemic I forgot that, especially at the beginning. I forgot. And I remember when I asked one of my colleagues, I said, there was a gap, and there was a vaccination that came available, an AstraZeneca. And naturally, they contacted me because they said, "Oh, you work with elderly, so you could be at risk. So come and get the vaccination." I actually called my colleague and said, "Is there anybody else who might need it more?" And she turned around. She said, "Actually, you need it more than any of us."
Mm.
And at the time, it only hit me afterwards, not then, but it hit me afterwards, because that's just my nature. I always think
Exactly.
of everyone else around me. I feel my job is to make sure everyone else is all right. And but I realized the hard way, I need to think about myself first. So I love the way you said that.
It's really important, Munawar, because like you always say, we're nurturers. Like I'm victim of that, burning myself out, and to do things for others, and forgetting that if I can establish myself more, I wouldn't even have to work as hard to help those people. And it's just like, with a baby, with a child, you say no to some, you stop them from doing certain things because it's better for them.
Hmm.
Sometimes they'll fight and scream and shout. This could be, you can use this analogy even for your life problems in your life, or family members or other people, but you're building in order to support them, or to give them something in the future, or to empower them. So yeah, it's sometimes we have to turn the mirror, look in the mirror, and what do I need to do in order for me to be in a position of strength to support other people more efficiently and better. So that's sometimes looking after yourself, taking some downtime, sleeping, resting, going to the gym, doing things that make you happy, so you can recharge your batteries to go back out there. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we do often forget that, especially when we're hit by crisis. What would you say in the last year, um, that you have spent during the pandemic been the most challenging for you?
I guess Zooming was difficult. I didn't enjoy it, but it had to be done. Um, engaging young people online wasn't easy. I really had to really animate myself even more than I already am, to be able to engage them. That was really difficult, and just because I've already involved in a lot of community things that were happening during the pandemic. I guess just the fact that sometimes the loneliness didn't was difficult as well. There's a whole list of things, but I think I'm the type of person that just ignores the troubles, Monara, and just keeps going and act like they're not there. I'm not the type to reflect on issues or
Mm,
or negatives. That's a time that's gone now for me. Like I've moved
that's a
on now,
really good.
and I'm not focused on it. I did what I had to do with the time I was given, and that's it. And now we're in 2021. So yeah, but I feel like it was tough. It did take a toll. It wasn't easy at times. It was very uncertain. Things were very uncertain, but just keep pushing,
Mm.
keep moving forward. So yeah.
Do you also find, because I know I had this conversation with lots of people, do you also find uncertainty quite scary? Like, obviously, you're trying to create a dream, a vision, and you don't know what lies
Mm.
in the future. So that can, I don't know how you feel
It's
about uncertainty.
it's come in my mind actually. I did say to myself the other day, what if you're doing all of this and nothing happens in the end? You actually get to the finish point and there's nothing. I'll be happy that I did it, I guess. I'm not someone that's scared of the uncertain. Um,
Mhm.
I welcome it. Actually, I'm so positive that I usually think it's good news, usually. Like that's the type of person I am. So I guess my positivity outweighs the fear of uncertainty. I believe that in life, you know, even as a Muslim, we're told provision is everywhere. It's around you. Just go and get it. And by you taking the action to do something, it will come to you one way or another. So yeah, so I believe out there is, like not necessarily that $1 million big deal or something, but out there, my provision's out there, and I'm just trying to get it. I'm just trying to go out there and try my best, and not have, be sad and upset and say, oh, and feel like, yeah, we don't have opportunities over here, this is all we're ever going to be. No, I have to go out there, take myself out of my comfort zone. And that's why I don't really have a fear of uncertainty.
That's good. That's quite reassuring, Hamza.
Mhm.
We want to excel,
Yeah, of
so we
course.
want to hear that you the road might be really long, but you have to keep going,
Keep
because
pushing.
yeah, exactly, keep pushing. But if it's meant to be, and you have all the right support, and you ask for help, perfection doesn't exist, like you
Of
said.
course. Yep.
Because I mean, I know that, I've known for a very long time, but my sense of the standard I have for myself is always going to be very high.
Yeah.
And that's my own fault, because I've been doing it for so long. I expect better from myself. But in terms of perfection, if we wait for perfection, what happens, Hamza?
Nothing happens. I used to be a perfectionist until it got beaten out of me. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just do it. Like the Nike thing. They should sponsor your videos, Manara. They should say just do it. Just get up and do it, and something will happen. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, maybe years to come, but something will happen. You just have to be consistent, and be disciplined, which I'm still working on. So yeah.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
I get asked, and I'm sure you will get asked the same question after today's conversation. I always get asked, how do you do it? Where do you get the time and the energy? And I have to say, I'm not working 7 days a week.
It's not a
People
job.
think I'm working 7 days a week. I'm not. I'm smart. I know all the ways to, the shortcuts. I know how to cut the corners. I still have
Yeah.
time to bake. I still have time to cook. I still have time to do things with friends and also work stuff.
To be honest, I think that helps me as well. I don't know if you're the same. My job is not a job. My work is not work. It's actually something I enjoy doing, and it doesn't. That's why I have had someone say to me, "Hamza, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. Where do you get this time, man? You're doing so much more than me." And I said, I didn't. I never thought of it. It's just because I just enjoy doing what I'm doing. Being in the charity industry, work with young people. You're always moving. You're always doing something. You're always adapting, changing, learning. Um, some days so you have quiet days. You have very busy days. Some days that you have to really adapt, instantaneous. That's the thing about working in youth clubs and working with young people. You could be in a group setting where you have 50 young people, and you have to. There's no trainers don't arrive or something, and you have to. Now you're the trainer, so you have to be ready. So you're always there to support your team, and also having a great team helps. That's the thing. It's almost like it's unpredictable sometimes working with young people. You never know what's gonna come out. You might have your quiet session, a really busy, crazy session. So I guess it actually helps. And I found actually, Monwar, I was reading an article the other day. People that work in the voluntary sector apparently live longer. I don't know, so
Hey!
because we're not as stressed. It seems like stress, but it's not stress.
it's
We're interacting with human beings, we're interacting with young people, so it's actually good for us in a way. So yeah.
I mean, it's stress for anybody else watching,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%. You see me in the pitch screaming, shouting, or stop fighting, or pass the ball, or do this, do that. Or put your back there, do this. Instructing them, but of course, instructing them in a manner that's not authoritative. Not. You're not their boss. We're peers. We're here to help you. Like a big brother almost. So they respect that, but again, they're still young people, so it's a different kind of rush you get when I'm on the pitch or when I'm in the youth club. And it's a different type of adrenaline. So yeah.
Yes, it's all good though. It's all good.
Yeah, of
And you know,
course.
people do say the voluntary sector is chaotic, but I
It,
will say it's organized chaos.
it is. It is. It is. You know, it is. There's order in our chaos that you just don't see sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's always organized. There's so much going on, but we do it well, and we do it because we enjoy it. And I think
100%.
for me, any job, like you said, you love your work, right? Any job becomes enjoyable when you're able to also do at work or bring into work a bit of you,
Mm,
you
exactly.
know. Which bit of you do you bring into work, Hamza?
Me, it's Hamza. I bring Hamza. I bring me the full package. You know, I have discussions with young people about them opening up business in the future or things like that. Like I treat them as if because I started youth work from young. When I got employed, I used to go to a local youth club that shut down back in 2017, and you know, I made friends with the youth workers because I came to this country when I was about 13, 14. A 13-year-old from Kenya or Somalia is not the same as a 13-year-old from the UK. Very different. I made friends with older people. Like I was syncing up with the youth workers, and when I end up being employed, I ended up being a youth worker for my friends. So it was really weird. So it's almost like talk to them like friends, almost like you want to have that conversation where they trust you and they want to
Mm,
tell you things. And so that's the important thing there. Yeah, just keep pushing, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, no, brilliant stuff, Hamza. Brilliant stuff. We've been talking for more than 45 minutes.
It doesn't feel like it, does it?
No, no, but you know, it's really interesting and fascinating to see people achieving things within our community. I remember one of my first interviews, not the very first one, but one of them. Gabriel, for example, you know, and then watching how far Gabriel's come, and he's only 18. You know, it's really reassuring. I know that Gabriel's also now like doing a lot of work himself, and he's offering filming services, and he hasn't even the guy hasn't even started uni yet.
Exactly.
He's gonna
In
start
fact,
in-
after his video, that's
Hmm,
when I made my decision. This is the guy that needs help with my website. So that's what I did. I recognized, empowering people who are taking those steps forward, bringing them on the
hmm.
journey with me. And he's a very inspiring young man, definitely.
Definitely, definitely, without a doubt. And we believe in Gabriel. I hope Gabriel believes in himself as much
That's
as
good.
we
Definitely.
do.
Definitely.
but but yeah, do you want to sort of? I mean, one of the things I noticed from our conversation earlier, you mentioned about being a role model for the Somalian community. Have you thought about ways that you can do more of that? How can you be the voice of that community? Are you doing any speaking at any local?
Um, at the moment, what I do is I visit specific cafes, where the Somali elder community are, because I believe that's the best way for me to get access to, the parents and the family members. And I'm not even a great Somali speaker, Monora, but
Mhm.
they've recognized that I want to help, and through that, through some of my, investigative skills, I handpick individuals within that community that believe in the same message as me, and they will be my voice when the
Mm,
time comes. Because I've been approached by, a small community, Somali community committee of about 30, 40 parents, and they said, Hamza, we need you to come and speak to us. I was like, what? You want to speak to me? Like, I never thought, I don't pick myself up there like that. And they wanted to speak to me about potential doing projects and stuff for the young boys around the area to reduce any criminal activity and things like that. And the access is ready. I already gained access, and that was through time on Aura. I would
mm,
do outreach to this particular cafe maybe for the past 3 years, and
mm,
they consistently saw my face to a degree. They had conversations with me, and then one day they all wanted to have those deeper conversations with me. So that's how I do it. I engage local business owners who, as you know, most Somalis go to these Somali cafes. They support each other in business. They buy each other's products, food. You know, after a typical tradition now is after Friday prayers in most mosques, most people go to Somali restaurants. Which one day I should definitely take you, Manara, and the team. And you see how chaotic it is in there. And it's just those conversation and being there, investing in these businesses. Because every time I went there, I would buy a cup of coffee, I would buy some chapati or some samosa, and showing them that we actually do care. It's a consistency, which sometimes it's with most communities. It's just you want to be there and show them that you're there to help, and they will open up their arms. And of course, it's not the generic or formal way. Let's set up a meeting. Let's bring people into an uncomfortable environment that they're not used to. Just like I believe when we want to deal with young people, we go to their environment where they hang out. Once they give us access there, then we'll be able to support them properly. So yeah, that's what I do at the moment. And trained quite a few Somali boys to get their badges, and they're all working right now. And they're all pledged to support me in my business in the future if I ever have any local contracts for them. And of course, even providing employment for them. I know I'm not just paying, Mr. A. That money is impacting his family as well, supporting his family, which he might not be, so it goes far. By me employing one young man from a family, it supports a larger group of people. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing so far.
The impact is far greater than it might appear. So
Yeah, much greater.
it would
And
be
that's what keeps me going. Knowing that one day that's possible. So yeah.
Why not? Why not? And this is why I think also speaking at public events, community events would be really good, because if you are the only voice, or maybe you and a couple of other Somali young men are the only voice, you need to be able to represent that. So it's not always Somali gangs, young boys that are in and out of prison, or the other very common thing about the Somali community is refugees.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a
And
lot of talent here.
yeah, there is a lot of talent, and it's such a shame that the talent isn't often spotted, and even when it is spotted, you don't have the confidence to go public.
Yeah, exactly. It's
um,
the fear of one of the fears I used to have. You have to be very educated. English is not even my first language, man. I'm just a good pretender. Sound really good.
your English is good,
Uh,
Hamza. Your
yeah,
English is good enough.
so it helps, just to get them to be in those positions, like, and I do appreciate my old youth club. They gave me that position. They gave me the opportunity to speak to the police when they would come to the center. I even spoke to the United States ambassador. He came. We spoke to him. I spoke to many influential and inspiring people. And again, it's an advice that I'll give to many young people. And even myself. Just get up and do it. Don't think too much. Don't don't care about what other people think as well. Because a lot of the time when I was younger, my friends would be giggling while I'm talking on a mic to in an event. But I knew I wanted to get a message across because I was passionate about it. And I know a lot of young people have that passion in them as well. But sometimes that fear of, this guy's gonna laugh at me, or that person, they're gonna giggle. But you are actually leading the way for them, because a lot of those people that are giggling now come to me for employability support. I'm the first person they call. Hamza, I got a job. Could you help me fill the form? Can you really go through my CV and see if it's perfect for that job? So slowly, before you know it, they gain that trust in you, and you become almost like a leader amongst your friends, and you guide them in a correct way, in a correct path. So yeah, just be brave, and trust me, it doesn't hurt to stand up and give yourself a voice. So yeah, it's important.
Yes, I believe leadership is about leading yourself.
Definitely, yes, you have to lead yourself first. Exactly.
If you lead, others watch, and when they watch and they believe you, they start following as well. That's what I'm learning. I'm learning, when you stop thinking about what others think, your life changes, because it's never, then your focus is no longer about perfectionism. I mean, Hamza, I don't know what I was doing when I was launching a YouTube channel, but that didn't stop me.
Yeah,
Because you can always fix it as you go along, right? You can always perfect
exactly.
stuff. Like, I've been baking for donkey's years, and I'm always thinking, how can I create a new cake that will smash it in flavor and taste than the last one I made?
Oh wow, yeah, that's
You know?
that's good. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
important.
and then, like, I do get asked, like, why are you so restless? Like, it's like you're not satisfied. It's not that you're not satisfied when you know that when you reflect on your journey and you know how far you've come, you know what has become possible, you suddenly start thinking, but then there's so much more that's possible then, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so much more. It's there's so much knowledge out there, so much things that you can do, and always push to go higher. It's the thrill of it. Life is short. Just don't hold yourself back. Don't have any regrets. Um, and be open-minded about everything as well, because you will be faced with challenges as well that will rock you to your core sometimes. But it's that experiences that you gain through all those times that you pushed yourself that will keep you there steady and firm. So yeah, definitely.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, Hamza,
Yes.
how can they get in touch with you?
So our website is neutronsecurity.org, and you can also get in touch with me at info@neutronsecurity.org. We'll also have a LinkedIn page at Neutron Security Community CIC. You can get us in touch with us through that way. If you have any opportunities, any collaboration, any advice, any help, because we are a startup. Yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with us.
And because you're interested in, in the future, corporate sponsorship, and obviously you want to be seen by investors, heard by investors, then the way to do that via LinkedIn is to connect and follow.
Definitely.
So I would seriously encourage you, if you're not doing enough, to do more of that on LinkedIn, because there's some amazing people. It's a huge international platform, and people are listening and watching from so far afield.
Mm,
You'd be surprised where you might get your support from, or your next best, jump.
yeah, that's true. Definitely. I have been a lot more active on LinkedIn. I was again, my usual overthinking. I said once I launch properly, then I will start being active. But actually, it's about just putting in, information on there and sharing about your journey. That's the whole thing. Because if you complete the journey, what content do you have to share? You already lost most of your content.
I've come to the conclusion we never complete our journey until we are six
Mm.
foot under.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe someone will prove me wrong, but that's
Mm.
the conclusion I come to so far. Because just when you think, okay, when I get to the end of that'll be the end, it never is. Because I mean, I can hear you, Hamza, you're an innovator. And
It's never the end, Monwara, because even if you are 6 foot under and you have a well somewhere in a rural village, your journey is not complete yet. People are still benefiting from your works. So yeah,
legacy.
and so until the end of time, maybe when the universe collapses on itself.
Well, I'm gonna on this note end, Hamza, but thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
so
thank
much
you.
for being really open and honest.
Mm,
And I know that there are things that you may have held back, but you've been really open and honest and that I'm sure 100% that it will encourage many other people who listen to your story. And I hope that you carry on telling your story in many other forms, not just like this, but also every single community initiative that you get invited to. You must tell your story.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Monroe, for giving me this opportunity to meet your great, audience. And yeah, I really appreciate it and will value this point in time forever. Definitely.
No, and I shall be watching your journey, Hamza.
Definitely.
And so, as much as anybody else will, hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
You too.
Yeah, all the best with your plans.
Excellent. Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Bye.
Thank you, Hamza.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to us today, you can catch this on my YouTube channel and live on our LinkedIn. Any comments, any suggestions, any way that you want to connect or follow Hamza would be greatly appreciated. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday.